So one of the things that we teach when it comes to development is creating some systematic programs that complement your current leadership structure. So from a team member to a team leader to a coordinator, coordinator to director, all the way through your staff, and saying, hey, there's specific levels of leadership, but we introduce the idea a lot of times of what if we had threshold trainings that equip somebody to go from one level of leadership to the next. And then we bucket that content under three categories. We talk typically culture, more about the church, character, more about you as an individual, and then competencies, more about the job, the task that's at hand. Talk about why those maybe are important or helpful, what you tend to find as you challenge churches to consider putting that content under some of those categories.
Yeah, I think what's really common is we put a ton of emphasis on culture. That's what I see commonly is we build these leadership development experiences or pipelines or even our assimilation experiences for volunteers. They tend to be very culture heavy, very centered around the history of the church, kind of the DNA of the church, our values, our beliefs. And that's so important. I think that's a response to maybe culture that was not strong enough in the past. And I think it's a great thing to invest in. But what we sometimes overlook is just the practical skills that help somebody perform their duty really well.
Yeah.
So when we think about, what it means to be a team leader or what it means to be a director over a department, can I distill down the responsibilities of that role? Can I identify the key skills that someone's going to need to be successful in that role? And then how can I make sure they have the training to do that well? We've talked about before, it's so important for people to have crystal clarity about what's expected of them. That's empowering to people, that's honoring to people. When it's not there, it's demotivating.
But sometimes people feel like it's limiting though. Like if I do a job description, I put some of those things on paper, but you're saying, it could actually be empowering and releasing.
It's empowering. It's like fences give freedom sort of thing. I can't let you out of the house because you could go anywhere. Well, now if I've built a big fence, I can let you out and you have so much space to run. This is what I would say to my dog at home.
Write it down.
So I think there's so much power in just teaching people exactly, what's expected in a role and then the skills that are going to allow them to do that well, whether that's communication or conflict management or system design or something like that. So I think that's something that we can afford to put more energy into. And the other thing is we don't always have to do all that work ourselves. Sometimes we don't have the knowledge base or the resource within the church to teach people certain skills. That's where we can look outside. We can ask the question, what other avenues could provide this training that our people are needing?
Yeah, that's good. I love that. You're really reverse engineering it. You're saying that if we have consistent layers of leadership, then what it means to lead at this level, regardless of the lane of ministry, we can now say, all right, here's the skills required to lead there. What would you say is the importance of having some of these consistencies and building just that development pipeline or leadership pipeline?
It's really about, people always say, like, once I develop, help somebody develop their understanding of the culture and their competency and their character, like, what now? And it's like, it's just a common thing to say, okay, what's next? What's next is a deeper level of their competency, their character, and an understanding of the culture. As you rise in your position and your leadership, and whether you rise as leadership or if you're even just as you go through the years, it's a deepening of those things, and that's the development process. It's what would I need to do or know or be able to accomplish in those areas that would give me a greater understanding and ability to perform in those areas over time. It never changes. It's all three all the time. And like Greg said, it's important to understand kind of the balance of, like, are we just working for time after time on culture, but we're not talking about character and other things. And we all know, your gifts get you in the room and your character keeps you there. So it's like, and we've seen a lot of things, over the years, and regretfully feels like a lot lately about character stuff. So that, that's when is your character good enough, right?
Right.
It's like hopefully we're being challenged every day. And it's the same for the other two.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that my competency doesn't flatline.
Right.
And for the next 20 years, I'm just at the same level.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
I like that. It's like it's a three-legged stool. You need all of them to be a well-rounded leader, but then the depth of those increases as you actually climb the ladder or increase your responsibility or are here longer. I love it because I think of it as like a shallow end. You know, you start wading in the shallow end, but eventually you're going to be able to swim in the deep end because we've intentionally, systematically developed you at specific spots to equip you for the next level of leadership. It's great.